Hey guys, Christina here. It's early, so my voice. But did you guys see that I kind of, somewhat, almost successfully did my latte art this morning? And I don't know. I look, it's feeling kind of good signish to me. Is how I'm gonna take it. I'm not saying I'm not gonna venture to guess or anything like that how you should take it, but how I'm gonna take it is that it is a sign of things going my way going into May. That was a little rhyme. Did y'all hear it? Okay. Um. Anyway, so y'all know what I'm back here to talk about already, right? Talk about this planning thing. Um. And I know y'all yada 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 yada. Like you keep talking about this and not doing it, but the reason that I keep talking about it is because I know that this is I know that this is a healthy, I know that this is what works for me. I know that this is good for me. It's just that I have all the bad habits pushing against it that I have to work past. And so I talked about it big time, kind of the beginning of April, end of March. Um, and it never did really come into fruition. I was amazingly productive in April, though. Even though I did not have my plan written down or anything, I still ended up being amazingly productive. But the downside of that is that it was incredibly stressful because I felt like I was in the wind the whole time. I did some vlogging about that. You'll see that. You'll see all of that in episode 4, episode 3 or 4 of my Let's Write a Book series. You'll see some of that. You'll see how I kind of spent the last day of April and the first few days of May kind of decompressing, low pressure, all of that, and so that I could come into May and actually, actually come into May with a plan. And so that's what I'm going to do. So, first things first, I'm going to gather my tools. And I am returning to the tools that work for me and help keep me feeling like I'm on level ground, or like I'm on solid ground rather. And that is, oops, making all kind of noise. That is my planner, like my overall planner, and then my top 3 notebook from Erin on Demand. And let me move my coffee out the way. My little cute coffee today. Um, so what? So the plan is that. Well, no. Let me back up. So what will happen is my husband has started taking a more active role in my business, like in a business manager role. And that has been incredibly helpful from a business standpoint. But he has his tools that work for him, which are digital tools that work better for him. They don't work better for me. And I have to figure out a way to balance the things that work for him from a business standpoint, and not just because this is not just me like conceding to what he wants, it's conceding to what works. Obviously, like it works. And so I want to figure out the balance between those two things, using the digital tools where we're able to work as a team on certain things, and balance that with my paper tools, which work better for me for the things that are kind of more centered on what I need to do from my, my portion of it. So what I want to do is um, figure out my priorities for the week, um, in in whatever areas I need to figure out those priorities in, and then break those down into my daily priorities for what I'm going to do. And so I have this overall, the stretch goals that I mentioned in a previous video. I have my overall things that I want to do, and so I have to take those and break those down into how I'm going to structure the things that I want to do for the week. And then once I have that, I can break those down into, okay, so what am I going to be doing every day? And if you remember, those stretch goals aren't things like, I want to, I can't even think because now my brain is kind of more tuned into, it's kind of more tuned into the stretch goals. And so I'm having trouble coming up with an example. But if you remember, the stretch goals are more like, it's more like who you want to be as a person versus the things that you want to do, and making the things that you do match who you want to be as a person, so that you don't have this idea of who you want to be, the changes that you want to make in your life, the life that you want to live, but the things that you're doing aren't matching up with the life that you want to live. So, excuse me. So, I have my stretch goals, or I mostly have my stretch goals. They're still in my head right now. I do need to write those down. Again, not going to do that on camera, but or I might talk about some of them. I'm just not going to actually do it on camera. But so I have the stretch goals, use that to build out, what the, I might do monthly. That might be too much. No, I'm not going to do monthly because I know my limits. So we'll break down into weekly, what I want to do for the rest of this month. That's what I'll do. I'll, keep it on a little smaller scale, what I want to accomplish this month. And then from there, not like I'm not going to I'll fill out a month here, or I'll roughly fill out a month here with my erasable pens because we are remaining open to change and we are going with the flow instead of rigid. And then for daily, this is probably something that I'll come to on like a daily basis, so that I can, come to this and write down, okay, here's what I need to do today towards what I need to get done for the week. I think that's it. All right, give me a second. Okay, so while I was writing my things down, I actually decided that I am going to share. So I have share everything. So I have five main things. Um, and I guess the framing of it is the legacy, I guess, that you want to leave, what you want the memory of you to be. And so my five things are: I want to be an active person. And that is intensely personal, and not in a way that I mean like it's a secret thing, but that is something that is like very much for me and very important to me. I say when I didn't go walking this morning. And I did not go walking this morning because it is gloomy outside. Despite the birds doing all their little tweeting, it is gloomy outside because we had storms and stuff, and I didn't want that to bring my mood down. So cross that off for today. No, I'm completely joking. I definitely can still go today. But anyway, I want to be an active person. I want to be a present mother. I want to be a loving wife. I want to be a successful creator and resource for my community. And I want to be a phenomenal friend. And so, again, these are not necessarily things that you think you are lacking at, but more like these are the things that are important to me. This is what is important to my life. This is the life that I want to have. And so all this other stuff, all this other stuff that we tend to make such a big deal of based on the things that society kind of tells us that we should want, and based on what like looks really pretty on the internet and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's more about, like I talked about in that last video, what is it that you really, really want? What is it that you want the memory of you to be? What is it that you want to live in right now? And focusing on those things. And so, what I'm going to be doing for each of these weeks, everything needs to go back to these 5 things that I want, that I really, really want for my life. So, to that end, thinking about, I want to be an active person. Um, that is a necessity with my spinal injury, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It is a necessity. So I tackle that often by going for walks, going for early morning walks, about 2 miles. I'm out there for 45 to 50 minutes, something like that. And I'm dictating while I'm walking. So I'm writing while I'm walking, and it's kind of a two birds, one stone kind of thing. And so I really, really like doing that. But that needs to be balanced. With the fact that I do have that injury. And so the fact that it is a two birds with one stone thing kind of drives me to do it, like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do that because that's how I get a good amount of words out. But I could potentially, be doing it too much and going too hard with it to the point that I actually aggravate the spinal injury instead of it being, more therapeutic. Instead of it being therapeutic like it needs to be, I actually end up aggravating it. And so I have to balance that. And so what I'm probably going to do is limit myself to doing that maybe 3 times a week, and then a couple of, whatever other days of the week, I could do something else. Like I can bike or rest, something like that. But that is how I can keep that balance. Additionally, on Tuesdays and Fridays, I lift weights with my husband. We just go in our garage. We have a weight bench and everything in the garage. This time spent with him. He and I catch up on the day. We talk. The kids come outside and they ride their bikes in the road in front of the house. I live in a very busy area, and so that's safe for them. And so they get outside and they get to play together and yell up and down the street. And so it's really like a family kind of time. And so that allows me to, it's like, it has one function, it has the surface level function, but it has these other functions that go along with it as well. Coming down to, I want to be a successful creator and resource for my community. I cannot do that if I'm not being productive in my business, which is my job. I write full time. And so I have to, things have to have a certain pace, and things have to have a certain professionalism. Because if there is one thing that I cannot stand, is someone who positions themselves as something that their results, or that their history, or that that the evidence doesn't actually back up. I don't want to be that. And so I have to make sure that when I'm doing things, that they're actually productive, and that they're actually, sewing into it. Like, do you get what I'm saying? I barely get what I'm saying. No, I definitely get what I'm saying. I'm mincing words, but I definitely get what I'm saying. But, all that aside, um, I have to be I have to be an active participant in this. These things aren't just happening to me. And that was why kind of like a lot of 2020 I talked about just running on vibes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's why that doesn't work. It's like it works if this is something that's casual for you, but once you make the decision that it's not casual, you know, this is my passion, I'm gonna live it out full time, this is what I want to do. It'd be great if I can get paid for it. You know, once you make that decision that this is going to be your thing, that this is really serious for you, you have to treat it seriously. And so that's what that's what I have to do. In terms of being a friend, being available, being like what happens to me a lot is like I'll get a text and I'll see the text and I'll put it down because wait, no, I'm supposed to be working. But once I'm finished working, I forget to go back to the text and it's like you're either gonna be in or out. Like if you're not gonna respond, don't look at it. If you don't have time to respond, don't look at it until you have time to respond. And so part of what I'm gonna be doing is I think I'm gonna be giving myself some like some social media and cell phone usage limits. I think I might try that a little this month and see what that does, not just for my responsiveness. And so, like, if I have certain time or certain pockets, you know, I'm tuned in and I'm able to really give it my attention. I'm able to, you know, I'm able to focus in versus just being all over the place. And what I'm hoping is that it'll not only be helpful for like from a mental health perspective, but it will also help a lot of these other, like pretty much all of these other, with the exception maybe of the being active. I think it will help all of these things if this is not in so much it's not so I'm not present for me. So that's pretty much it for me. I just wanted to talk to you guys about how I'm going to be approaching productivity from, you know, from what the direction that I'm going to be approaching this from. I'm hoping to have a month that is as productive and profitable as April was. Really, really hoping for that. Um, but I also need a little more structure because, again, by the end of April, I was completely burnt out, completely stressed out. I cried, like it was just a lot, and so I don't want May to be like that. But I want April's results in a bit more healthy way, or not in a bit more healthy way, but in a lot more healthy way, and so that is what I'm going to be focusing on. If you have something that you're focusing on in terms of productivity, your mental health, self care, etc., let me know about that in the comments because I always like to like get other people's or hear not necessarily get other people's perspectives but hear other people's perspectives and what they're doing because a lot of times when you even if what they're doing wouldn't necessarily work for you, identifying why that wouldn't work for you can be helpful for you instead of just, oh, you know, I could never do that. It's like, but why though? Why could you never do that? And it's not just a thing of, oh, that just doesn't work for me. Interrogate it. Like, why doesn't it work for you? There's reasons behind all of it. All those things, all those little idiosyncrasies that we think are just, well, this is just how I am. It's not though. Like it's not though. There's a reason. And the reason might be, you know, very simple, but there's reasons behind all of it. And I think that identifying those reasons can be very helpful to learning ourselves and figuring ourselves out and figuring out what really, really works for us. Not just on the surface of it, not just what we think works for us, but what really, really works. So, anyway, yeah, I'm done. I gotta actually do this now. So I am going to let this go and go ahead and get into this and then get into some work because, like I said, I want April results, but in a healthy way. So that's what I'm going to be working on. As always, thank you guys so much for supporting me, for supporting this channel. It really means the world to me to be able to come on here and just talk about my stuff that I like to talk about, and have you guys chime in, and have you guys listening, and have and maybe hopefully offering some added value for you. So yeah, I'm getting I'm getting off track. So I'm going to go ahead and let this go. And thank you guys for watching. Bye.